Guys, this is getting more coverage than all of the coverage, period, internationally, than United Healthcare has ever basically provided, guys. But let's go and check this out immediately, see where this takes us, guys. NYPD has dozens of images from cameras tracking the suspect in the CEO deletion, let's say. Let's check it out. Let's go and see where we are in the story, guys.
And Jim Kavanaugh, the New York Times has called the suspect a shrewd and elusive operator. Do you agree with that? Because he clearly made some mistakes. He took down his mask. He abandoned the shell casings. He went into the Starbucks. He dropped the water bottle. I mean, this is not, seems like and he was staying in a hostel with roommates. He certainly didn't seem like a highly paid assassin of a
he wasn't.
CEO.
He wasn't.
You know, I read the Times every day, and I have great respect for their journalists, but I'd give a little pushback on that assessment myself. I think he's really a rank amateur.
Absolutely.
He did almost everything wrong. You know, after a careful viewing of the shooting, if you watch it very slowly, his gun, he fires a shot at Mr. Thompson and strikes him in the leg, I believe. He stumbles. But the gun jams immediately. It jams after the first round. And the killer then reaches down and works the slide a couple times, fires again, and the gun jams again. And then he racks the slide and slaps the top of the slide a couple of times and walks toward the victim and shoots a third time. And as he's walking away, he's still fooling with the gun. So it's not that the gun jammed once during this series of rounds. It jammed after the first shot and after every shot. And as you point out, he showed his face. He's too clever by half. He thinks he's going to evade the detectives, but he's not going to evade them.
Not at all.
The NYPD.
Yeah, I definitely would not say that this guy was like was John Wick, guys. He definitely was not that. For some reason, a lot of the news coverage currently is trying to make him out to be John Wick. But guys, if you've ever handled a firearm, you understand how I don't think this man has ever really handled one in any meaningful manner before, guys. You can basically tell by a couple of these things, guys. But let's continue, guys.
He has great detectives. In ATF, our agents work with them constantly, every day, for years. Great relationship with them. And I'm sure they're with the detectives now, because when you have a silencer, you also have a federal crime, likely here, unlawful possession of that weapon. It could be interstate transportation of a silencer, interstate transportation of firearms with the intent to commit a felony. There's all kinds of federal violations that ATF can help them on and help them with leads and manpower and surveillance. And, for example, if they need stuff in Atlanta, well, we got a whole division in Atlanta, scores of agents down there that know the territory, and NYPD can lock in with them and say, let's see what we can dig out. So they're going to catch this guy. All these flubs he made, if they have any DNA or fingerprint, once they get his face up, I recommend they up that reward and blast it out more. I really think he's going to be a guy who did a lot of pre-operational surveillance, maybe even at the conference, since he was in New York a week before. The detectives found he might have actually went in the conference. He probably was on that street. He might have even followed the victim into his other hotel across the street.
I believe that.
So surveillance from the hotels internally, the lobbies. This guy's on camera. His face is going to be shown. And I think, if you know this guy, Andrea, if you saw these pictures, you could identify him. So he's going to be identified.
Guys, 100%. Like, based off of this, like, if this guy was in my life in any meaningful manner, I would definitely almost immediately know who this person was. Like, yeah, that's that guy. That's Joe up the block, bro. I don't know, his father has a FFL, a federal firearms license. He was able to actually, steal, let's say, the silencer from his father who owned one, who got approved for one. Et cetera, et cetera. I could tell the whole story of this man's life, right? Just based off of this image here. Like, if you know him, right? He's not excessively, he's not that unique, bro.
They're going to find him.
But you would know who he was.
And it's not going to be too long either.
Let's talk about the weapon for a moment, because that is a big factor, the silencer.
Okay.
That he used, because according to the New York Times, and you can help me with this, they're not that easy to get.
No, it takes like a year.
They say that purchasing one requires submitting fingerprints, a photograph.
Yeah, and I'm about 3 months away from mine.
Background check. Take me through all of that and how that might help tracing the silencer might help pinpoint the suspect.
Exactly. Well, it traces back in a nutshell back to the days when ATF started as the Bureau of Prohibition, back when Elliot Ness was one of our agents, and the Congress passed the National Firearms Act, and it outlawed what they called gangster-style weapons, and silencers, submachine guns, etc. were included. And so you had, from that day forward in 1934, you had to register a silencer with ATF before you could get it. You had to submit your photograph, your fingerprints, you had to have a background check, and then you could obtain the weapon. That's still the law today.
Yeah.
So you have to go through that rigmarole.
Guys, the funny thing is that in order to actually purchase a silencer, you can purchase them, but you just can't have them. So what would happen is you would buy it, and then the broker most likely would be holding on to it for a certain amount of time, most likely in their safe, and someone with a federal firearms license that basically moves firearms, right? But yeah, you would buy the silencer, you technically own it, but you can't have it until you actually, until you're allowed to have it, right? So yeah, I like the idea of that. I don't think everyone should be, be able to purchase silencers, but obviously silencers are made in various ways. But in order to stay legally compliant, just wait your time, guys. Just wait your time.
And ATF has to have your full set of fingerprints and your photograph and all your personal information, which is all on file in Washington, D.C. Now, that said, rarely did people with registered silencers rarely ever commit murders.
Exactly.
I mean,
you know why? Because you know how long it takes to get one, guys? Like, my record is so spotless, okay, that I can basically have any firearm I want in the United States of America, basically, for the most part, right? To a certain extent, obviously. But the average person who is going out to get a silencer will never use it for anything nefarious. Guys, never.
Over my 33 years with ATF, I've only remembered just a few. And I remember a couple we didn't catch who we knew did use their registered silencers in murders, and we weren't able to capture them, and the few we did. But I mean, there's millions of them out there now, and, and the people who own them legally, the aficionados, the gun sportsmen who like to shoot with them, they rarely use them in crimes. Now, they can also be obtained illegally on the illicit market, like a ghost silencer that could be manufactured. And this guy has so much trouble keeping this gun into battery.
Yeah, he's a noob.
That he's probably affixed something like a ghost silencer on the front of it. And what happens is that the slide will jam on the back of the silencer.
Yeah.
Because when the slide goes back from the explosion of the cartridge and runs forward, it's got to go fully forward into battery. If the silencer is screwed on too tight, the gun can hit the back of the silencer.
Right, and the slide itself, I'm not gonna put my gun on the screen, but like basically the slide itself just gets kind of jammed for the most part. So like if the ghost silencer itself is not manufactured, adequately at least, there could be parts of it like screwing it on too tight, right? Basically, would make it so it just cannot, clear for the most part. So you then start to get all types of jams, like stovepipe jams, things like that.
Silencer. And also if he's using what we call subsonic ammunition to try to reduce the report of the weapon, in addition to the suppressor or silencer, then that can, prevent the slide from going back far enough to bring the next round in. So very amateurish. I mean, the first round he jams, the second round he jams on every round. This guy is too clever by half. He's watched too many movies. He's not a criminal, and he's not going to be good at evading the NYPD.
He's a criminal.
I can tell you that. And they'll be wrapping him up pretty soon. Be interesting to see if he has any Confederates with him as well.
Guys, what do you want to bet that was a Glock? I'm sorry, guys. I'm definitely a gun guy. I've been collecting guns for a while now. I have way more guns than I want to sit here and tell you on camera. But I have a lot, guys. But the thing about that is, I'm gonna go ahead and forecast that was a Glock. It jammed so many times, has to be a Glock. I know some Glock guys in the comments are gonna come at me for saying that, guys, but I don't like Glock at all. So I'm sorry. I own a couple of them, and every single one of them just regularly jams because I've never had any issues with any of the firearm, but it's just like specifically Glock. I have bad luck with them, guys. I mean, I get it. They can shoot when they're dirty. So called AK-47, bro. And guys, but either way, this guy's gonna get caught. He's not John Wick, bro. And for some reason, people think he's John Wick. You're not John Wick, bro. All right, don't do that. But either way, hopefully he does get caught. And you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly. This is my lightsaber. Hey guys, you guys subscribe to the other channels? Logical Movie Reviews with Mr. L. Boyd, along with Mr. L. Boyd Music. Oh, also, Mr. L. Boyd Discusses. Guys, check it out. And if you haven't heard it today, you're amazing.